guys, Jonathan Reichert here. So the video you're about to watch is quite long, and there's a lot of fun stuff in it. So if you're not in the mood for a full half-hour lesson right now, skip around until you find something that sounds like something you want to learn. But generally, the gist of it is going to be explained at the beginning of the video. So be patient and enjoy the video. Thanks for watching. Hey there, guitar players of the interwebs. So it seems that some of the more popular videos on my channel are lick videos, which I don't tend to do that much. But I thought today I'll talk about one of my favorite things to do when I'm improvising or soloing on a tune, which I just call it blues loops. It's just a quick way of thinking of it for me. Like, I got to give it some kind of title. So I play these blues loops, and I think of them as, like, you know, for someone like myself, I don't pick ultra fast like a shred guitarist. I'm working at it, but it's not something I tend to do live. I tend to play a more of a combination of hammer-ons and pull-offs and picking to get different kinds of phrasing sounds. So that instead of like just a da-da-da-da-da-da-da kind of sound, I'm getting kind of a like da-da-da-da-da-da. Different kinds of cool rhythms come out of the picking that way. So with these loops, I think of it as it's like my material in, let's say, the far back room of my guitar material. This material sits back there for when I want to maybe push my solo into fifth gear and give it everything that I personally have. Let's say you're coming to the end of a solo and you end up having more time to solo and you're like, I need more material. I'm gonna dig deep here. So these loops, they're all little 2, 3, or 4 note loops that you can play in repetition without stopping. And they end up playing off of the rhythm just by doing that. So what I'm going to do is demonstrate them mostly using 16th notes. So ticka, 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 ticka. And the idea for now as an exercise is that you take each of these little loops and you try to play them as flawless 16th notes with whatever kind of phrasing you choose. Hammer-ons, pull-offs, all picking. If you want to pick it all, that's great too. And I'll tell you a little bit about how I do them. But the idea for now is put some drums on at any speed, like start slow, figure out how you are going to play these loops with your right hand and your left hand, and get it really dialed in on the 16th note, okay? So that it doesn't come out sloppy. It's not going to be, it's not going to be that useful if you don't really dial these into the time, because what's cool about them is sometimes if you have a loop of 5 or 6 notes going against 16th notes, then you get kind of a cool 6 against 4 or 7 against 4 sound. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or something like that. And so on. So I'm going to just start firing off a few of these favorites. They're all based on the blues scale. You can play them anywhere you know the blues scale on the guitar. And I'm going to, for now, pick mostly ones that use the actual blues note in the scale, but there's a couple that won't. Okay, and let's just say for today, I'm picking the key of B minor. Okay, so I'm going to play a lot that are in the 7th, 9th fret area of your sort of regular B minor pentatonic scale that you might have learned first before breaking out into other positions. I have a generic drum track on standby here, just to demonstrate the idea of slowing it down and locking it in. And then at the end, hopefully, I'll just play a few of these in a more improvising way with a jam track, and we'll see how that works out. Okay, I picked a ridiculous guitar tone. It was the first one that loaded up when I loaded up my GarageBand iRig, so it's pretty heavy-duty overdrive. But that's fun. That's the way I'm going to do it. So, and, you know, overdrive is not going to hurt on this because of all the pull-offs and hammer-ons. Here we go. So step 1, I'm going to just find a little blues zone. I'm going to show you within the B minor pentatonic scale here. That one note, there's our blue note. I'm going to play a little loop off of that to start with, okay? And here it goes. I'll talk you through it, but hopefully you can figure out a couple variations of your own. Okay, and I'm going to start slow here. So I'm going to go, on the 3rd string, I'm going to go 7, 9, 10, 9, 7, and then on the 4th string, a 9. Okay, very basic start. favorite one, but it's a good starter one. I don't really like the completely legato sound, and I can't pick it as fast as I want, so I tend to just practice it on my own time, but I don't use it often. So you can work on that. So we've got 7, 9, 10, 9, 7, and then on the 4th string a 9, and you loop it. Okay? For now, I'll loop it with the drums so you have a better idea. Nice and slow for now. It's not going to sound amazing. My choice for the phrasing on that is I like to pick 1, 2, 3, 4 notes and then do a pull off. And then I get a bit of a jazzier, fusion-y kind of phrasing out of it. So I go pick, 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 pull off. Okay? Pull off the next note. So here we go. That gives me time to change strings too. That's about my speed for if I'm doing that phrasing. If I just legato it, I can go faster, but I just don't like the sound of it that way. So I'm going to leave it as that for now. Okay, so that gives you an idea of how these blues loops are going to work. They're all going to work like I just did there, where you just consistently loop it until you feel like it's where you want it in terms of tempo and getting the right phrasing. And I'd love to see some people play some of these with all picking. If you have that picking technique that you can just shred these, I think it would be a great, great kinds of licks for rock and metal. And I use these over kind of fusion, blues, rock, metal, like anything where I feel like it's going to fit in well, and especially at higher tempos where you can really get the ticka-tickas going. So. Okay, so here's another one. We're going to move along. I'm going to do one that to me it's simple in that there's only 3 notes, but I find it kind of impressive looking when people are like, wow, that must have taken a minute to learn that, even though there's only 3 notes in it. And the reason is because there's a finger roll in it. And it really comes out nicely once you get it going. It's a nice phrase. So I'm going to start with a 3rd string 9, and a 4th string 9. So there's a finger roll right away. Okay, here we go. And then 3rd string 7, 9, 7. And the last note is 4th string 9. And that's the loop. Here I'll do it slower. 9, 9, 7, 9, 7, 9. With a little string changing in there. Sounds a little junky. So what I do again with the phrasing is I try and get that roll and then I throw in a pull off in there somewhere, okay? Anyhow, I'm going to throw the drums on here and sort of show you in more of a practice format. And I'm going to hopefully exaggerate where I throw that pull off in there. So that's that one. I'll fire away that one a little faster with some jam track later. And that one, yeah, it's only 3 notes, but when you really get it moving, it's a 6-note loop against 16th notes, which are groups of 4. So you get that cool da 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 da. You get an interesting sound based just on the accents of when you start the loop against where the beats of your music are. So that's another, again, that's like what I like most about all these loops is playing around with the time, even though it's all 16th notes, okay? So moving along, let's pick another one here. I'm gonna now, this is one of my favorites, but it's gonna take a hot minute to learn it compared to those two because there's a little shift in it. And I like this sneaky little shift because what we're gonna do is take the blues note from the scale, which is like the sharp 4 of the scale, if you're familiar with what that is. And we're going to play it in 2 different locations, even though it's the same note. Okay, so let me demonstrate. So we're going to make use of this. We're still going to use those notes, but we're also going to dip out of the position to a second string 6 and play the same note at a different time, but it really makes this lick flow. Okay, step 1 is second string, play the 6, play it, and slide it to 7. Easy peasy. And you can slide it. It's going to be one pick. We're already off to a good, efficient start. So we're going to slide it in. Next note is going to be pinky on the blues note here, so 3rd string, 10th fret. So instead of here, I'm here now. So we've got this. Still sounds junky, so let's finish it off. And that's the loop. So we're going to slide in, then we're going to play a 3rd string, 10, 9, 7, and then 4th string 9. Okay, and even on its own, it's a nice little lick to just do once. But if you can get a nice hot loop going on this, it looks impressive. It has a string skip in it. So you've got to go from here to here. Just that alone takes a little bit of time. But again, once you get this rolling, it has a really cool sound to it. It's kind of like a bluesy saxophone kind of lick. And the faster the better. So I'm going to start it out slow and I'll play it a little faster. But as you get faster, you want to throw in some hammer-ons and some pull-offs. Probably, in my case, as I speed it up, I'll start with a slide, a pick, pull-off, and then I still have to pick the last note no matter what, because it's a single note. So slide, pick, pull off, pick. You don't want to end where I just did necessarily, but you want to find a nice place to end it. Wherever you want to end it, you know. Ultimately, I usually end it by going into some other loop to get out of it. I get stuck in the loop and I need to find an exit strategy. So that's often where I end up throwing these in here. So yeah, now we've already got 3 loops. I think I did 3 so far. Now even with 3, you can start putting together some pretty cool combinations of the 3. They all flow together in the same zone very nicely. And that's, again, what will give you some really cool phrases to do with the timing and the groupings of the notes against the rhythm of the music. Pretty awesome. So let's see, as a little review here, we did this one. Got some low battery on my phone here. And we did the fancy 3-note one with the finger roll. And then we did the 2nd string sliding in and then going on to the 3rd string, playing 3 notes onto the 4th string 1. So here we go. Let me put on my slow drums here and I'll just lock them in a little bit rather than trying to play as fast as I can, so you can see the idea of blending all 3 of these licks for now, okay? Here we go. You get the idea. So the first one that I did, what I like to add to that one is the 2nd string 7. So I'm going to go up to that first. And then go back and make a little loop out of that. So go. Getting a little lost in there. So it's just adding one note to one of the first licks we did. Now I would like to move out of position a little bit, just get you moving around the guitar, and I'll show you 2 or 3 more that I like, and then I'd love to see some replies and see what you've come up with for some of these yourself. So I'm going to head out of the 7 and 9 area, kind of up to about 2 frets higher, kind of the next position of B minor if you know it, but for now I'm just going to walk you through how to get to it, okay? So instead of being in the 7-9, 7-9, instead of that area of B minor, I'm going to move up 2 frets. I'm going to play 7, 12, 9, 12 on the 4th string, and then on the 3rd string, 9, 11. However, that's just pentatonic. We're going to make it blues again with that blues note. So I'm going to play 4th string, 9, 12, 3rd string, 9, 10, and we've got a bluesy sound. Now this lick is simply those notes up and down backwards, and once you get it going again, you decide if you want to throw some pull-offs in there, and it just goes forward and backwards like a small scale rotating in a circle here. That's about my limit for picking every note. So now I'm going to throw it in with the, I'm just going to do a pull off on the 10-9 on the way back down. Let's start with that. That again gives me a little extra time to change strings with my pick. Here it goes. And then ultimately, as it gets faster and faster, I just pick each string once and play the rest of the notes legato. And in this case, because I'm not getting too many notes in it, I still kind of find that it sounds quite picky and gives it good articulation. It's not like 4 notes on one string being played legato. So I'm just going to play it a little faster, and you'll notice my right hand just starts picking one time on each string. It makes it a really easy loop. So here we go. That's another one where you got to be careful where you end it. You don't want to end on that blues note. You know, it's not a great area to end, so you kind of find your way out of it. So you could just end on the first note of the lowest note of the lick. Since that's your home note, that's the B. Right, so pretty easy one to get your fingers around. Again, you don't want it to come out sloppy in terms of the timing of it. You want it to get really dialed in like a machine gun sound and just really lock into whatever beat you've got. Okay, now a little variation on that one that I like to be able to mix into this is, let's go 3rd string, 9, 10, 11, 10, 9. So 3 notes in a row chromatically. And then the other 2 notes from the previous sort of section, so 12 and then 9. And so on. One way I really seem to get it going well is to just do only the pinky note here and not go back to the root note. So I'll do 9, 10, 11, 10, 9, and then 4th string, just 1 note on the 12th fret. And again, I don't really like to fully legato it, so I just pick it as fast as I can and then set my limit there. So yeah, haven't worked on that one too much, but it's in there. Another variation of this is 3rd string, 9, 10, 9. 4th string, 12. So it's the same notes we played earlier in the video. But because of the phrasing of it and the way you can get the hammer-ons and pull-ups going, it actually works a lot better to play this one fast than it did up here. It's quite quite easy to get that rotation going. You can just keep your first finger on the 9, hammer on pull off, go to the 12, and don't even let go of the 9 because you're coming right back to it. I personally like the articulation of picking the first 2 notes and then pulling off. Gives it a little bit more attack, but of course as you speed it up you can just play it all legato. I find it a lot less tedious than doing it right here on the same string, because that's a lot of pulling off and hammering on, and it's still pretty cool. But up here it's got that phrasing to it. So we've got a few different ones I've done up here now. You can blend them together again. There's a few other ideas I've tried to work on up there. It's endless, and you can get creative with it. I'd one day like to be able to do this one a little better. So, and then second string 10, and then loop that. That one's a little more like a Paul Gilbert style picking lick. And then you could change the 10 to a 12 on the second string. And then alternate those. You can hear I can't quite pick it too fast, but one day I might get that one going. It doesn't seem to flow along very smoothly with the hammers and pull-offs for me, so I haven't really worked that out. Yeah, not comfortable for me, but I like the sound, the notes, so one day I'll work it out. Occasionally what I do is I throw in one of those notes amongst the other loops, so if I'm in the lower zone here, I might throw it in like that, just quickly poke in one of those higher notes, you know. Something like that. Or just use it as an ending note. Something like that. Okay. So this is the idea now, is just all those blues loops. Let's say if you had 4 of them that you really worked out well, 4 different loops can be combined in 24 different ways, okay? If you just said I got loop A, B, C, and D, and you played them in that order, then that's already one great line. But then A, B, C, and D could be played D, C, B, A. You could play it in order of the B lick, and then the A lick, and then the C lick, and the D lick. There's 24 different ways to do that, just with 4 licks. So it doesn't take much to have quite a lot of material to fly off of, and every time you play it, you're going to play it a little bit different. With one overall sound of being 5th gear turbo overdrive at the end of your solo, or you just want to get a little bit impressive in the middle of your solo. Obviously, there's a time limit on it. I don't think anyone wants to hear like a full 30 to 60 seconds of this in a solo, unless maybe in a live scenario where there's a lot of alcohol and screaming and such going on. In that case, I might approve. But otherwise, I tend to stick into these loops for, 5 seconds and then get out of it. 10 seconds maybe. Depends on what the vibe is like. If people are listening intently to your guitar playing and they want to see like what you've got, then you can choose your own adventure. But if you're playing in the background at a place and it's not necessarily the forefront of the event, then you might just want to throw it in for your own personal enjoyment. 3 or 4 second loop, and then end it with a tasty long note, and then get the hell out of there. So, as you can see, plenty of options here, and now I'm going to just jump into a jam track here. And I'll just play some of these loops. I'm going to try and stick to just the loops generally, that idea for now, just for the purposes of this video. So again, I wouldn't necessarily go on this long on a solo just playing these loops, and really do remember to try and explore your fretboard with just those bluesy notes to try and find more of these loops. They're all over the place, and I really encourage you to move around out of the main box that some people call it, the pentatonic box. As you can see, I'm pretty comfortable even in that box myself. It's nice to get down low occasionally, you know. And you can really explore the space. Maybe you'll get way up high. I don't know if in B, if I can get way much higher than that. But really explore the space. I mean, even if you're playing in the same octave, the same pitches, you get a different sound with the different thicknesses of strings, and even that can play in your favor as a different way to take, you know, one lick, you know, and make it sound 3 different ways. Can't get much higher than that. Ridiculous. Have some fun. We'll catch you later. I hope to hear a few questions from you, and if you'd like to know a little bit more about the theory behind all of this, I'm happy to explain some of that too, but for now I kind of approached it as a lick idea just to get you started, and hopefully you can find some of your own sounds and have some fun. We'll catch you later.